Previously, Ryouta died as a result of overworking in a toxic company, but he was reincarnated in a world where every item is a drop item from monsters. Where he discovered his level was stuck at level 1 for eternity, but his drop item stats were all S rank, and there he discovered a dungeon where he could level up without leveling up. So Ryouta's new life has begun in another world. So, as the story goes, Ryouta gets to Urza to exchange his watermelons, but Eric returns and tastes Ryouta's watermelons. She truly felt melted by its taste, so others snatched a few remaining pieces to eat up. Seeing that, Urza wanted to sign another exclusive contract to sell Ryouta's watermelons, and Ryouta agreed. There she tells him that watermelons are only found on level 5 of Telula dungeon, so she suggested him to get a license to explore lower levels of the dungeon. In the Sekro Town, adventurers need a license to explore every 5 levels, and traders are prohibited from buying items from adventurers if they don't have license. So Ryouta gets to the place to take his license test, and their examiner puts a melon in the hall which is found on level 6 of the dungeon. All Ryouta has to do is defeat it once it's turned into a stray. That melon turned into a steel slime, and Ryouta used his hands for this fight. But it backfired, so he used a fire bullet and then a freezing bullet right after that, so the temperature change shattered the slime with just a slight touch. That old man was impressed, and Ryouta got his license to level 6 and lower. But this time Ryouta asked Emily for help. They spent 1.5 million on a tuna and left it to turn into a stray. That tuna turned into that gorilla which attacked the Sekro Town before, so Ryouta froze it up first and killed it again. It dropped another gun, and now Ryouta can try out bullet combo with this. Then Ryouta goes to exchange a bit of his lot, and Urza seemed down, so Ryouta asked her, and Urza told him a strike has been called out on the 6th level on the dungeon where rice is found. They want to raise the price of rice, so Ryouta thought of solving this case, but there he meets Neptune, and he was here to solve the same matter but in a fatalities. So Ryouta decided to handle it himself and gets to the 6th floor. He gets surrounded by strikers, so Ryouta used his dual guns on those ruffians, which instantly puts them to sleep instead of death. So Neptune got curious, and Ryouta tells him that he used 2 healing bullets to fuse them together, which transforms a healing bullet into a sleeping bullet. He discovered fusion earlier when he used fire and freezing bullet to make it into vanishing bullet, so Ryouta and Neptune caught those ruffians and called off their strike. Then Ryouta was called by Clint Gray, the leader of the dungeons of Sekro Town, because a new dungeon was discovered between the border of Sekro and Hetero Town. So they were fighting each other for the right of that dungeon, but Ryouta took the ownership lightly, so Clint tells him about tax to buy on a drop item from another town. And this dungeon drops both meat and veggies, so it's a rare dungeon, so both towns decided to compete by collecting the highest amount of rare items. Ryouta was famous for having double of his drop item, and that's why Clint asked Ryouta to join their side, so Ryouta had agreed after all that coaxing. And he asked Emily to join him on this exploring, but on their way they saw there wasn't anything at all. So Emily drew a drawing on the ground, and after her Ryouta did the same for any person who passes by to encourage them and make their day. Then at night Emily sets up a tent which doesn't feel like a tent but a nice hotel, so Emily tells him that she has a unique skill in setting up things like this. Then she was going off to burn their trash because it could also turn into a stray, so Ryouta lets it turn into a stray, and it turned into a Frank, and defeating it Ryouta gets a nice reward. Then on the next day he tried out his seeker bullet on those slime and got to the dungeon. They saw it was bustling with people, but the other side, mountain of trash, was built up. And a single girl with fire magic was taking care of those trash, and looking at her face, Ryouta instantly realized she had worked non-stop for days to have bags under her eyes. So Emily and Ryouta gets there to help her out, but she falls out of exhaustion from the lack of sleep. But she gets back up right away to burn the trash or it could turn into a stray, but she couldn't even use her magic, so Ryouta used his fused healing bullets to knock her out to let her get some sleep. Her name is Celeste, and she slept soundly in Ryouta's tent. In the evening she woke up and saw the trash were turning into strays, but actually Ryouta was making them turn to gather bullets from them. Then after the hard work, Emily made a delicious meal for them, and Celeste cried from happiness to get the meal this tasty after so long, so Ryouta promised to help her out when he has free time. She then fell fast asleep again, and the next day her fire had gotten stronger, so Emily told Celeste to stay in their tent until this ruckus was over. And Celeste got her heart melted from their kindness. Then they left to explore the market, and Emily gets drawn to a ring. A lady finds a ring special to her heart, so she wanted it. Then afterwards, Ryouta met the in charge of Sekiro's side, and Duke showed Ryouta the blueprint of the dungeon that has 10 floors, and their agreement with Hetero was to find rare items in a limited time. So Ryouta wanted to hurry up, but Duke told him that monsters are being captured on the vegetable floor and Ryouta only needs to find rare items. There they got the rare one already and saw the team of the Hetero town, but one of them was an F rank on drop item, so Duke told Ryouta it's their plan to waste any rare monster Sekiro fails to kill. After that, Ryouta fires at that monster, but it regenerated and began to become even stronger because it has a core inside of him. So the girl from Hetero can see the core and moves out to kill that monster to waste Sekiro's rare item chance, but Ryouta killed the monster on the last second as he can also see the core. Then he gets paid $1 million for his first mission and bought the ring Emily liked, so he gives it to Emily, and after that she saw her animal drop status had increased. So Ryouta told her he got 2 rings from the seller, so he made it into a stray, but even after killing it, those 2 rings fused into one and got an increase effect on drop items. Emily tried it out and got a meat for the first time, but there they saw a rare tree monster creating a bugging stir. But it was Hetero's find, so Ryouta didn't make a move or it would only benefit them. So their Emily took off her ring and Ryouta froze that tree and Emily destroyed it and got no drop item since her animal drop is at F rank. But soon Hetero's backup will arrive, so to stop them from getting ahead, Ryouta gave the idea to clear out odd number floor on dungeon right away. But it would require money to get items and mens, so Ryouta promised to pay the same amount of money if the monster he kills won't drop any items. With that promise, Duke drew out a budget for him, and when they got to the dungeon, they killed all the rare monsters and got to the last floor and faces the boss. But Ryouta took it out himself and got a pretty ordinary drop, so Sekiro was sure to win at least, and for that the Duke was happy. Then Ryouta goes a little further to gather some personal loot. But ruffians from Hetero blocked Ryuta's magic power to break a few bones of his so that he can't participate in this competition. But Ryouta doesn't need magic to knock out a few idiots, and that redhead Yujin thought Ryouta can't use his guns now, so Ryouta showed her the reality. But Ryouta didn't harm them and healed up everyone and lets the matter slip aside. Then he returns to home with some nice profit, and the video comes to end for today. So if you want to watch more of this anime, then please tell me in the comments section and like the video if you enjoyed it. So take care.